Most people think success is decided in the morning. They talk about 5 a.m. routines, cold showers, miracle mornings. But let me tell you something powerful. Your life is not decided at 5 a.m. Your life is decided at 5 p.m. because 5 p.m. is the moment of truth. It's the line that separates the average from the extraordinary. Most people misunderstand how success is built. They believe the most important hours of the day are between 9 and 5. They think that is where careers are made, reputations are formed, and futures are decided. But the truth is very different. From 9 to 5, you are building someone else's dream. You are following instructions, meeting deadlines, attending meetings, completing assigned tasks. You are paid for your time. You are paid to execute. That time is important, yes, but it rarely defines how far you will go in life. The real difference begins after 5 p.m. After 5 p.m., nobody tells you what to do. There is no boss watching. There is no performance review. There is no salary attached to those hours. That is exactly why they matter so much. Because what you choose to do when nobody forces you to do anything reveals who you truly are. Those hours belong completely to you. They are not rented, they are owned. Successful people understand this deeply. They know their job may give them security, but their evenings give them possibility. During the day, they operate within a system. In the evening, they design their own system. During the day, they solve company problems. In the evening, they solve their own limitations. During the day, they trade time for money. After 5 p.m., they invest time for growth. There is a powerful shift that happens when you stop seeing evenings as recovery time and start seeing them as investment time. Recovery is necessary, but mindless consumption is not recovery. Scrolling endlessly, watching random videos, complaining about work, these activities do not recharge you. They slowly weaken your ambition. They feel comfortable in the moment, but expensive in the long term. Think about it carefully. If you spend just 2 focused hours every evening learning, practicing, or building something valuable, that is 10 hours per week. In 1 month, that becomes around 40 hours. In 1 year, that becomes nearly 500 hours. 500 hours of intentional improvement can completely transform your skills, your confidence, and your opportunities. That is the equivalent of months of full-time effort built quietly in the margins of your day. From 9 to 5, you may become better at your job. From 5 to 9, you become better at life. The people who change industries, start companies, build personal brands, master new skills, or completely transform their circumstances rarely do it during office hours. They do it in the early mornings and late evenings. They sacrifice temporary comfort for long-term expansion, not because they are forced to, but because they see something others don't see. They see that small daily effort compounds like interest. When you consistently use your evenings to grow, something powerful happens inside you. You stop feeling trapped by your job. You stop feeling dependent on one paycheck. You begin to feel capable. And capability creates confidence. Confidence changes how you speak, how you think, how you take risks. Suddenly, you are no longer waiting for opportunities. You are preparing for them. Many people say they are too tired after work. That may be true physically, but often the deeper issue is mental habit. We are conditioned to switch off after 5 p.m. We tell ourselves we deserve unlimited relaxation because we worked hard. But growth does not require exhaustion. It requires intention. Even 1 focused hour of reading, studying, planning, or practicing is enough to move the needle. It is not about burning yourself out. It is about using your best remaining energy wisely. Imagine 2 people with the same job, the same salary, the same background. For 5 years, one spends every evening consuming entertainment and complaining about circumstances. The other spends even 1 hour daily building a skill, learning about business, improving communication, or developing an idea. After 5 years, their lives will look completely different. One will feel stuck and confused about why nothing changed. The other will have options. Options are the real definition of success. And options are built after 5 p.m. When you treat your evenings as sacred development time, you stop living passively. You begin designing your future deliberately. You may not see dramatic results in a week. You may not feel a difference in a month. But internally, momentum is forming, knowledge is stacking, discipline is strengthening, identity is shifting. You are no longer just an employee. You are a builder. And the most powerful part is this: nobody can take those invested hours away from you. Skills stay, knowledge stays, experience stays. The confidence you build in your private effort becomes visible in public moments. When opportunity knocks, you are ready not because of luck, but because of preparation done quietly in the evenings. Your 9-5 maintains your present. Your 5-9 creates your future. The question is never whether you have time. The question is whether you have vision. Because when your vision becomes clear, your evenings become powerful. And when your evenings become powerful, your trajectory begins to shift in ways that seem invisible at first, but undeniable over time. The world is changing faster than at any other time in history. Technology evolves, industries transform, new tools appear, and old systems disappear. What was valuable 5 years ago may already be outdated. What guarantees stability today may become irrelevant tomorrow. In such a world, the greatest risk is not failure. The greatest risk is standing still. If you do not learn faster than the world changes, you slowly fall behind without even realizing it. Many people believe education ends when school ends. They think once they have a degree or a job, the learning phase is complete. But in reality, that is when learning becomes even more important. Formal education may give you a foundation, but self-education determines your future. The market does not reward certificates alone. It rewards adaptability, problem solving, creativity, and the ability to understand new systems quickly. After 5 p.m. is your competitive advantage. During working hours, you perform tasks you already know. You repeat familiar processes. You operate within defined responsibilities. That may improve your efficiency, but it rarely expands your capacity. Growth happens when you stretch beyond what is required. Growth happens when you voluntarily step into discomfort and say, I want to understand more. The people who stay relevant are not always the smartest. They are the fastest learners. When new technology appears, some complain, others explore. When industries shift, some panic, others prepare. The difference is mindset. One sees change as a threat. The other sees change as an opportunity. And that mindset is strengthened every evening when you choose learning over laziness. Learning does not mean collecting random information. It means intentionally upgrading your value. It means asking yourself, what skills will matter in the next 5 to 10 years? Communication will always matter. Critical thinking will always matter. Digital literacy will continue to matter. Understanding emerging tools, platforms, and systems will multiply your opportunities. The world increasingly rewards those who can combine human skills with technological understanding. Even 1 focused hour per day creates transformation. Imagine reading 20 pages daily. In a month, you finish a book. In a year, you finish 12 to 15 books. Most people do not read that much in 5 years. Imagine taking 1 structured online course every 2 months. In a year, you gain 6 new structured skill sets. While others stay the same, you evolve. That evolution may not be visible immediately, but it compounds quietly. Compounding knowledge works like compounding money. Small deposits seem insignificant at first, but over time, the growth accelerates. Suddenly, you understand trends earlier. You see opportunities faster. You connect ideas others cannot connect. That intellectual edge makes you valuable in conversations, in meetings, in decision-making environments. The fear many people have is that learning feels overwhelming. There is so much information available that they do not know where to begin. The solution is not to learn everything. The solution is to learn strategically. Pick one direction. Go deep instead of wide. Master the fundamentals before chasing advanced complexity. Depth creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. Another powerful shift happens when you commit to continuous learning. You stop fearing change. Instead of worrying that automation or new systems will replace you, you position yourself to work alongside them. Instead of resisting innovation, you become curious about it. Curiosity is one of the most powerful survival skills in a fast, changing world. Learning also reshapes identity. When you see yourself as a lifelong student, ego becomes smaller and growth becomes natural. You are no longer embarrassed to ask questions. You are not threatened by people who know more. You seek them out. You understand that every conversation can teach you something. This humility accelerates development. After 5 p.m., when distractions are loud and comfort is tempting, choosing to learn is an act of discipline. It sends a message to yourself, my future matters more than temporary entertainment. This self-respect builds internal strength, and that strength reflects in how you carry yourself. Knowledge gives you clarity. Clarity gives you confidence. Confidence opens doors. In a world where information is abundant, the real advantage is focus and application. Do not just consume content. Apply what you learn. If you study communication, practice speaking. If you learn about business, test a small idea. If you explore technology, experiment with tools. Application converts information into skill. Skill converts potential into value. The pace of global change will not slow down. Artificial intelligence, automation, digital transformation, and new economic models are reshaping the landscape. Those who adapt will thrive. Those who delay will struggle. Waiting until change becomes unavoidable is dangerous. Preparing before you are forced to adapt is powerful. Your evenings are your preparation ground. Every time you choose to upgrade your knowledge, you increase your leverage. You make yourself harder to replace. You expand your ability to create income, solve problems, and navigate uncertainty. You are not just reacting to the future. You are preparing for it. And the most empowering truth is this: nobody can stop you from learning. You do not need permission. You do not need perfect conditions. You need commitment. Even in a small room with limited resources, with limited time, you can read, study, practice, and grow. If the world moves fast, move faster internally. If technology evolves, evolve your thinking. If industries shift your skill set. Because in the end, the strongest position in a changing world is not stability. It is adaptability built through relentless, consistent learning done quietly after 5 p.m. Most people spend their evenings consuming. They consume videos, posts, news, entertainment, opinions, and other people's creations. Consumption feels easy. It requires no risk, no exposure, no judgment. You sit back, watch, scroll, listen, and absorb. Hours pass quickly, and at the end of the night, you feel entertained but unchanged. Creation is different. Creation requires courage. It requires effort. It requires you to produce something that did not exist before. And that is why it separates ordinary from extraordinary. After 5 p.m., when your job responsibilities are finished, you face a quiet decision. Will you continue consuming, or will you begin building? Consumers wait, creators act. When you only consume, you live inside other people's visions. You watch their businesses grow. You follow their ideas. You admire their results. But when you create, you begin shaping your own direction. You move from spectator to participant. That shift changes your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who watches success. You see yourself as someone capable of producing it. Building does not mean launching a giant company overnight. It means starting small, but starting consistently. Write one page, record one video, design one concept, develop one skill, sketch one idea, improve one product. Small daily creation builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds larger action. The reason creation is powerful is because it multiplies value. When you create something, you leave a footprint. A skill practiced repeatedly becomes mastery. A side project nurtured daily becomes a business. Content produced consistently becomes influence. Ideas tested regularly become innovation. Creation compounds in ways consumption never can. There is also a psychological transformation that happens when you build instead of consume. You begin to understand effort. You respect process. You realize that behind every polished product is invisible work. This awareness changes how you approach your own goals. You stop looking for shortcuts because you understand that depth requires dedication. Many people hesitate to create because they fear imperfection. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until they know enough. They wait until conditions are ideal. But readiness rarely arrives before action. Confidence is built through doing, not through thinking about doing. The first attempt may be awkward. The second may still be rough. But improvement only visits those who practice. After 5 p.m., you have a choice: passive comfort or active construction. Passive comfort gives you temporary pleasure. Active construction gives you long-term power. When you build something consistently, you develop problem-solving ability. Creation forces you to face obstacles. Things do not work perfectly. Ideas fail. Plans require adjustment. But in solving these small challenges, you train resilience, you strengthen patience, you sharpen thinking. These traits become assets in every area of life. Another powerful benefit of creation is independence. When you rely only on one source of income or one skill set, your security is fragile. But when you use evenings to build additional capabilities, you expand your options. You might develop a side business. You might build a portfolio. You might cultivate an audience. Over time, these efforts create flexibility. Flexibility reduces fear. Reduced fear increases boldness. Creation also teaches ownership. When you produce something, you are responsible for its quality. You cannot blame the algorithm, the boss, or the system. You must evaluate, adjust, and improve. That responsibility strengthens maturity. It transforms excuses into experiments. Instead of saying, "Ooh, doesn't work," you ask, "How can I make it work better?" The modern world rewards creators more than ever before. Digital platforms allow individuals to publish, design, code, teach, and sell without massive infrastructure. Tools are accessible. Knowledge is available. What is rare is consistent execution. Most people start, few continue. The advantage belongs not to the most talented, but to the most persistent. Imagine dedicating 1 to 2 hours every evening to building something meaningful. In a year, that is hundreds of hours invested in your own asset. That asset might be a refined skill, a growing project, or a developed idea. While others have only memories of shows they watched, you have tangible progress. Creation builds visibility. It builds leverage. It builds credibility. When you consistently produce value, people begin to notice. Opportunities appear not because you chase them desperately, but because your work speaks for you. Doors open when effort accumulates. There is also a deeper reward in building fulfillment. Consumption entertains the mind temporarily. Creation satisfies the spirit. Producing something meaningful generates pride. You sleep differently when you know you built something, even if small. That sense of progress fuels motivation for the next day. After 5 p.m., distractions compete for your attention. They promise relaxation and ease, But discipline asks a different question. What can I create tonight that moves me forward? Even small output matters. One paragraph, one prototype, one practice session, one strategic improvement. Over time, these small acts reshape identity. You no longer introduce yourself only by your job title. You become a writer, a designer, a developer, an entrepreneur, a builder. Identity expands beyond employment. The world is full of consumers. It is shaped by creators. When you choose to build instead of scroll, to practice instead of watch, to design instead of complain, you step into a different category of human potential. And that shift, repeated consistently after 5 p.m., transforms not only your results, but the way you see yourself and your capacity to shape your own path. Evenings are dangerous, not because they are bad, but because they are unstructured. After 5 p.m., discipline is no longer enforced by deadlines, supervisors, or external expectations. The structure disappears, and what remains is choice. In that space of freedom, your habits become powerful. Your environment becomes influential. Your mindset becomes decisive. Protecting your energy and mindset after 5 p.m. is not a small suggestion. It is a strategic decision that determines the quality of your growth. Energy is more valuable than time. You can have free hours in the evening, but if your mental energy is drained by negativity, distractions, and unnecessary drama, those hours become useless. Many people finish work physically tired, but mentally scattered. Instead of recovering intentionally, they expose themselves to more noise. Social media arguments, negative news, toxic conversations, comparison traps. Slowly, their motivation weakens. Negativity is subtle. It does not always arrive as a dramatic crisis. Sometimes it comes disguised as gossip. Sometimes it appears as endless complaining about the economy, the government, the boss, or other people's success. When you repeatedly absorb negative input, it shapes your internal dialogue. You begin to believe that effort is pointless, that opportunities are rare, that success is reserved for others. Your mindset is like soil. Whatever you plant repeatedly will grow. If you plant doubt, fear grows. If you plant discipline, confidence grows. After 5 p.m., you must become the guardian of your mental environment. That means choosing what you watch, what you listen to, and who you spend time with. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every debate deserves your energy. Not every notification deserves your reaction. Distraction is the biggest thief of evening potential. Phones are designed to capture attention. Platforms are built to keep you scrolling. Algorithms do not care about your future. They care about your engagement. Without awareness, hours disappear. You start with 5 minutes, and suddenly it is midnight. The problem is not technology itself. The problem is unconscious consumption. Protecting your energy does not mean isolating yourself from the world. It means being intentional. If you are tired, rest properly. If you need entertainment, choose it deliberately and limit it. But do not allow passive habits to control your direction. Another powerful aspect of protecting your mindset is avoiding comparison. Evenings are often when people scroll through other people's highlights. You see promotions, vacations, achievements, success stories. Without context, these images distort reality. You compare your behind the scenes struggles to someone else's edited results. This comparison drains confidence. Confidence is fragile when exposed to constant comparison. Instead of measuring your life against others, measure it against your previous self. Ask, am I improving? Am I learning? Am I building? Growth is personal. Timelines are different. Protecting your mindset means focusing on your path rather than obsessing over someone else's pace. Energy protection also involves boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your time in the evening. Some people only call to complain. Some conversations leave you exhausted. You must learn to say no without guilt. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary for focus. If you want to build something meaningful after 5 p.m., you cannot allow constant interruptions. Physical energy matters too. Your body influences your mind. Simple habits like light exercise, a short walk, stretching, or proper hydration can reset your focus. When your body feels better, your mind becomes clearer. Protecting energy is not only psychological, it is physical. Silence is powerful in the evening. A few minutes without noise, without screens, without conversation can recalibrate your thoughts. Reflection strengthens awareness. Awareness strengthens discipline. In silence, you notice whether your actions align with your goals. You recognize distractions before they dominate. Many people underestimate how much their environment shapes them. If your room is chaotic, your mind often mirrors that chaos. If your workspace is organized, clarity increases. Small adjustments in environment can dramatically improve evening productivity. Clean your desk. Prepare your materials. Remove unnecessary distractions. Design your space to support growth. Mindset protection also means guarding optimism. The world often highlights problems more than possibilities. Challenges are real, but so are opportunities. Training yourself to see solutions instead of only obstacles builds resilience. When something does not work, instead of thinking, "This is impossible," shift to, "What can I learn from this?" Optimism is not denial of difficulty. It is belief in possibility despite difficulty. When you protect your energy, you protect your ambition. When you protect your mindset, you protect your confidence. Without energy, even great plans fail. Without a strong mindset, even small obstacles feel overwhelming. Evenings are the testing ground of self-leadership. No one forces you to focus. No one forces you to avoid negativity. No one forces you to choose growth over distraction. That freedom is powerful. It reveals discipline. If you consistently guard your attention, filter your influences, maintain positive internal dialogue, and set healthy boundaries, your evenings become productive instead of draining. Over time, this mental discipline strengthens every other area of your life. Your environment shapes your thinking. Your thinking shapes your actions. Your actions shape your future. Protect the source, guard the mind, preserve the energy, and your evenings will transform from vulnerable hours of distraction into powerful hours of intentional growth. Most people want fast results. They want visible change in a week, dramatic progress in a month, and total transformation in a year without consistent effort. They are attracted to the idea of overnight success, but they misunderstand what overnight really means. What looks sudden from the outside is usually the result of years of invisible preparation. The truth is simple. Overnight change begins with a long-term decision. Thinking long-term is rare because it requires patience. It requires the ability to delay gratification. It demands that you work today for rewards that may not appear immediately. After 5 p.m., when comfort calls your name and distractions promise instant pleasure, long-term thinkers make a different choice. They ask themselves a powerful question: where do I want to be in 5 years? That question shifts everything. When you think only about tomorrow, you choose convenience. When you think about 5 years from now, you choose investment. The difference between the two is discipline. A short-term mindset seeks comfort. A long-term mindset seeks growth. Imagine two people finishing work at the same time every evening. One focuses only on relaxing because the day was hard. The other spends even 1 hour developing a skill aligned with a 5-year vision. In the first week, there is no visible difference. In the first month, the difference is small. But after 1 year, the second person has accumulated hundreds of hours of focused development. After 3 years, the gap becomes undeniable. After 5 years, their lives no longer look similar. Long-term thinking multiplies small efforts. The reason many people fail to think long term is because results are invisible in the beginning. When you plant a seed, nothing appears above the ground for days or weeks. If you judge progress only by visible signs, you may believe nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Growth is occurring silently. The same principle applies to skills, businesses, relationships, and personal development. After 5 p.m., when you choose to work on your future instead of only enjoying the present, you are planting seeds. You may not receive applause. No one may notice your effort, but long-term thinkers are comfortable with invisible progress. They understand that consistency compounds. A long-term vision also protects you from emotional decisions. When you think only about immediate feelings, you act based on mood. If you feel tired, you quit. If you feel bored, you switch goals. If you feel discouraged, you stop trying. But when your decisions are guided by a 5-year perspective, temporary emotions lose control. You understand that one bad day does not define the journey. Long-term thinking creates stability. It helps you avoid chasing every new trend. It keeps you focused when distractions appear. Many people start projects with excitement, but abandon them when something more interesting appears. Without a long-term direction, focus becomes fragile. But when you clearly know what you are building toward, your evenings gain purpose. Every action connects to a larger vision. Clarity is power. When you define where you want to be in the future, your daily decisions become easier. Should you spend 3 hours scrolling or 1 hour studying? Should you complain about your job or build a skill that could create new opportunities? Should you invest in temporary entertainment or in long-term capability? The answers become obvious when viewed through a 5-year lens. Another powerful effect of long-term thinking is resilience. Challenges feel different when you understand they are part of a larger process. Instead of seeing obstacles as signs to quit, you see them as training. Setbacks become lessons. Mistakes become feedback. Growth becomes a journey instead of a race. Long-term thinkers are not obsessed with speed. They are committed to direction. They understand that steady progress beats inconsistent intensity. Working extremely hard for 1 week and then quitting for a month produces little change. But moderate, consistent effort over years produces extraordinary outcomes. The key is sustainability. You do not need to sacrifice health or balance. You need commitment to daily improvement. After 5 p.m., even small actions aligned with a long-term goal create momentum. Reading 10 pages may seem insignificant, but in a year it becomes multiple books. Practicing a skill for 45 minutes may feel minor, but in 2 years it becomes mastery compared to those who never practiced. Saving a small amount of money regularly may seem slow, but compounded over time it creates freedom. Time rewards those who respect it. Short-term pleasure often steals long-term opportunity. Late nights without purpose, endless entertainment, procrastination disguised as relaxation. These habits feel harmless in the moment, but repeated daily, they shape your trajectory. 5 years later, people wonder why nothing changed. The answer is hidden in the evenings they treated casually. Long-term thinking transforms patience into strategy. You stop asking, why is this taking so long? And start asking, am I consistent enough? You stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You focus on building your own story. When you adopt a 5-year mindset, pressure decreases and discipline increases. You are no longer desperate for quick validation. You are building something meaningful, and meaningful things require time. After 5 p.m., every decision is a vote for your future. Every hour can either move you closer to your vision or keep you where you are. The future is not created in dramatic moments. It is shaped in quiet evenings when you choose progress over comfort, direction over distraction, patience over impulse, and commitment over convenience. Most people end their day without thinking about it. They finish work, go through the evening, get tired, and fall asleep. There is no evaluation, no correction, no preparation. Then they wake up and repeat the same pattern. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into years. Progress feels random because there is no intentional review. Reflection and planning before sleep is a small habit with massive impact. When you pause at night and ask yourself simple but honest questions, you take control of your direction. Without reflection, mistakes repeat. Without planning, mornings become chaotic. Without clarity, energy gets scattered. Reflection is not about self-criticism. It is about self-awareness. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what did I improve today? What did I waste today? What did I learn? These questions create consciousness. They force you to look at your actions instead of drifting past them. Many people avoid reflection because it exposes uncomfortable truths. It reveals time wasted, opportunities ignored, effort avoided. But discomfort is a teacher. Awareness is the first step to growth. When you reflect consistently, patterns become visible. You notice what distracts you. You notice when your energy is highest. You notice which habits move you forward and which hold you back. Without reflection, life feels confusing. With reflection, life becomes data. And data allows adjustment. Planning is the second powerful step. If you go to sleep without deciding what matters tomorrow, you wake up vulnerable to distractions. Messages, emails, unexpected tasks, and other people's priorities take control. But when you define your top 3 priorities before sleep, you give your mind direction. Clarity reduces decision fatigue. You start the day knowing what must be done. Planning the night before also strengthens focus. When you wake up, you are not asking, what should I do today? You are asking, when will I complete what I already decided? That shift saves time and mental energy. There is also a psychological advantage to nighttime planning. When you write down your priorities before bed, your subconscious mind continues working on them while you sleep. Solutions appear faster. Ideas connect more easily. You wake up with greater readiness because your brain was already processing direction. Reflection builds wisdom. Planning builds execution. Together, they create momentum. Imagine 2 people with equal talent and equal opportunity. One moves randomly, reacting to circumstances. The other reflects daily and plans intentionally. After 1 year, their difference will not be small. The second person will have corrected dozens of mistakes early. They will have strengthened productive habits. They will have moved consistently toward defined goals. The first person may still feel busy but directionless. Even 5 to 10 minutes of reflection can transform awareness. Sit quietly, no phone, no noise. Think honestly about the day. Did your actions align with your goals? Did you protect your time? Did you use your evening wisely? This honest conversation with yourself builds integrity. You become accountable not to others, but to your own standards. Planning does not require complicated systems. It requires simplicity. Identify the 3 most important tasks for tomorrow. Not 20. Not a long, overwhelming list. Just 3 meaningful priorities. When you focus on fewer but important actions, productivity increases. Completion builds confidence. Confidence fuels motivation. Reflection also protects growth from ego. When you succeed at something, review why it worked. When you fail, examine what needs adjustment. Instead of blaming circumstances or other people, you search for lessons. This mindset turns every day into education. Another benefit of nightly reflection is emotional balance. The day may include stress, conflict, or disappointment. If you sleep without processing it, tension accumulates. But when you review calmly, you separate emotion from fact. You identify what was within your control and what was not. This reduces anxiety and strengthens resilience. Planning gives you control over time. Reflection gives you control over behavior. Both are forms of leadership, self-leadership. After 5 p.m., when you invest in growth, the final step before sleep ensures that effort compounds. Without reflection, improvement is accidental. Without planning, consistency is fragile. But with both, progress becomes deliberate. There is power in ending the day with intention. Instead of collapsing into sleep exhausted and distracted, you close the day with clarity. You acknowledge effort. You correct mistake. You set direction. Then you rest with purpose. Over weeks, this habit sharpens discipline. Over months, it strengthens results. Over years, it transforms identity. You become someone who does not drift. You become someone who adjusts, improves, and executes. The day does not control you. You evaluate the day. Tomorrow does not surprise you. You prepare for tomorrow. Small nightly reflection creates continuous correction. Small nightly planning creates continuous action. Together they turn ordinary evenings into strategic preparation and ordinary days into measurable progress, one intentional review at a time.